Hi guys, it's Jake at Canadian Cutting Edge, and today we've got something new from Tekut. I assume that's how you say the name. This is the Tekut ZERO. This thing is a shot across the bow of the other Chinese knife companies saying, "We have arrived." Tekut, I hate to say this, but the knives that I've seen from them before have sort of been lackluster. They haven't been great. They've been okay, but not that good. So I don't really have reviews for Tekut knives. But this thing showed up just a little while ago, and it is a very good knife. Once you hear the review and the specs and the details about this thing, I think you're going to be interested in it. It's widely available, and it comes in this OD green and in black. And I think you're going to want to watch this review, so stick around. This Tekut ZERO is a very EDC style and size of knife. I've got a large size hand according to North American measurements, and it just fits in my hand perfectly and completely. An extra large hand, it's not going to work for this knife. People with smaller hands, you're going to find this very comfortable as well to take out and use. And I've been enjoying it quite a lot. I've had this knife for 3 weeks, and I've carried it almost every other day, pretty close to it, and as my main EDC, and I've really enjoyed using this knife an awful lot. Part of that is because they've chosen to go with Sandvik steel on this knife. 12C27, it's a really good steel. They haven't told us what the Rockwell hardness is, but generally it's about 58, 59. And I suspect that's what Tekut has done here as well. What we've got is a liner lock knife, G10 handle scales. Only the side that has the liner lock has a nested liner. There's no liner on the show side, and that's not a problem at all. It's quite strong enough without it. This isn't a knife that you're going to be hammering on. You're not going to be batoning and stuff. This is an EDC style knife, and for that, this is plenty strong. Open pillar construction, nice hourglass pillars on there. Drop point blade, saber grind, that's a flat grind that's not quite full. Thumb stud opening system, a very pointy, shall I say, stabby tip, and a unique pocket clip. Look at that. That is the deepest, most ultra deep pocket clip I have ever seen on a knife. And thanks to Tekut, this ZERO has got this very special feature. When I saw this feature, that was enough to say, I must get this knife and review it. And it's a very interesting feature, and we'll talk more about that in a little while. And let's talk about the specs, the sizes of everything. What do we got here? We've got a cutting edge. So it doesn't really have a sharpener's choil per se, like a rounded one, but it's got a sharpener's choil of sorts that comes right to that point on the blade. So from there to the tip, we've got 8 centimeters, which is about 3 1/8 of an inch. Plenty. Too bad that it's just a little bit longer than somebody who's within that 3-inch law. You could, if you're good at it, you could grind this guy just a little bit shorter so he wouldn't be so stabby, and you would have still a very nice knife. It's not as easy as it sounds to shorten a blade. The geometry, you can get it way wrong. You can overheat your blade and wreck the temper. You can do all kinds of things that really mess it up. But if you know what you're doing, this blade is one that could actually be shortened to fit within that 3-inch law and still be a very functional blade. I'm getting ahead of myself, aren't I? Some more sizes. The blade thickness, 2.8 millimeters, which is 0.11 inches. The thickness of the steel behind the grind. So right after that final bevel there, how thick is the main grind just behind that? Well, it's 0.67 millimeters, which equals 0.026 inches. That's just very much around average thickness for most of the knives that I've been testing. So it's a very EDC-able type of thickness. It works just fine on this knife. Let's talk about the handle. The handle length is 10 centimeters, which is 4 inches. The handle thickness is right around 1 centimeter, which is about 3/8 of an inch. When you open the knife, the full length of this guy is, not the sky, this guy. The sky is really, really big. This guy is 18.2 centimeters, which is about 7 3/16 of an inch. And without that liner on that other side, and the nested liner that's on the liner lock side, how much do you think this guy weighs? 66 grams, which is 2.3 ounces. Yes, it is a very light, very EDCable knife. The handle itself, it's got a chamfer on that edge there and a chamfer down here, and then your index finger's choil right there. Very nice G10 work here. It's quite smooth to the touch. It's not, it doesn't have the texture that a lot of knives do, although you can see some texture on it in this picture. The feel of it is actually very smooth, and I'll get a USB microscope picture, a nice close picture of this G10. The hardware is, just that really nicely milled on the one side, and then Torx on the other side, quite nice. And you've got 2 pillars, pivot, and then this screw here is just between the, it's just holding the liner in place onto the G10, the lock side liner. And there's the pocket clip again. What is so good about this knife? Well, there's a few things that are really good about this knife. Let's talk about that pocket clip now. It starts off as an, just an ultra deep pocket clip with a tip up, design, right side only. And that's quite good. That in itself, if it was just like that, it's a very good pocket clip. But it slides on a slider, and it has a detent that holds it in this position, and then you slide it out. Did you hear that click? The detent holds it there. So let's do it again, but I'll stop talking. You hear that detent hold that, and the detent holds that. I'll do that again when I've got the knife apart so that you can see exactly how that works. So in this shot, you can see the inside of the knife. There you can see the phosphor bronze washers. Nice blade. Oh, and this is the side without the liner, just the G10. And here's the detent arm for the pocket clip. So there it is, the pocket clip. You can see the little hole for the detent there, and it just fits in there. That's as simple as that works. And it, it just works really, really fine. But how does it work in the pocket? Well, let's take a look at how it looks in the pocket first. I found out, I haven't been watching Zell on Zellrik's knife channel as much as I wanted to. And I found out when I started doing this that he had already been doing this for a while. He's got, a pair of pants that he brings out and he shows how the knife looks in the pocket. So I didn't actually copy Zellrik, but he had a really good idea and I had a really good idea, and we had them independently of each other. And this is a great way to demonstrate without having to aim the camera at my pants. But as you can tell, when this knife is in the pocket, all you can see is that pocket clip, just a little bit. And if you do the ultra deep mode, it looks basically the same. And so that's why, for me, I think that although this is a really cool idea, it's not quite needed because they made it really deep to start with. The other problem is when this knife is in your pocket and you go to reach in and pull it out, it becomes quite difficult to pull it out because you're going to be pulling on here. If you squeeze to grab it, to pull it out, what you're going to end up doing is you're going to be squeezing this together, which will push the pocket clip onto the knife a little bit harder, and it'll make it harder to pull out. You have to somehow, you've got it in your pocket here, and I'm using my right hand, you have to somehow squeeze it on the sides and pull it out to get it out. because if you squeeze it this way, you know, it just catches on tighter and you can't pull it out. It just won't work. So you either have to go right at the bottom and push up, which hardly works as well. You know, it's just difficult. You know, there I opened the knife when I pulled it out that time. It's just difficult to remove the knife out of your pocket if you're using this ultra deep mode. So I think that this pocket clip, in one sense, is a huge plus for this knife, and in another sense, it's a little bit of a failure. If you're using this knife as your main EDC, let's say you like to carry one knife, you're not a guy that has, you know, dozens of knives and you swap them out and you switch them back and forth, but you carry just one knife and you really want this really ultra deep feature, you know, because it has the added benefit of the weight being lower. It's another thing that's going to stop the knife from being able to be pulled out accidentally, or at least reduce the odds dramatically. If you're just carrying this knife all the time and this is your main knife, this feature will work for you okay, because you'll get used to how to take it out and use it. But if you're swapping knives regularly, this is going to frustrate you unless you just use it this way. You just put it in your pocket, and you know, if I pan up all the way, you can just barely see that the knife is in the pocket. You know, then it's easy to grab and pull out. No problem at all, just like any other easy knife to pull out of your pocket. So it was quite a surprise to me to find out that in this mode, it just didn't work that great coming out of the pocket. So you designers at Tekut, you had a really good idea. Keep working on this idea. Keep perfecting it. I'd like to suggest that you, you know, try again. Maybe make some changes. Somehow find a way to make this even better, because you've got a great idea going. It just didn't quite make it this time. What are the other cons about this knife? None. I found no other cons about this knife. Nothing else that I disliked. It's got phosphor bronze washers on both sides. It's got a nice detent. Using the thumb studs, it opens very easily. It works very well right-handed. Oops. It's hard for me to use left-handed right now. I had another wart treatment on my finger. But it works well left-handed or right-handed. Not a problem, although the pocket clip is only right side tip up. But you can open it well enough, you know, with the thumb studs. They give you enough room with the to get to that thumb stud to open it left-handed. So that's a good thing. It's very pointy, so it's really good for doing all kinds of little delicate cutting work. Sandvik steel, excellent choice. I can't fault them there at all. This nice saber grind, a nice flat grind on it. They've done a great job. It's a very good knife. The weight of this knife is most excellent. The fit and finish is great. Every spot I look, there's not a flaw anywhere to be seen. You know, I like the inset liner here and everything. Just everything's really, really good about the manufacturing of this knife. And there's no proprietary tools needed. It's Torx everywhere. It's a really, really cool, good knife that I highly, highly recommend. I got mine from Tekut. No, sorry. I got mine from Tekut. And I contacted them, and I found out that their parent company is Nextool. And Nextool has also sent me some other tools that I've reviewed. And Nextool's just been really great to work with. Hopefully we can work with them further and have some more of their items. They do flashlights, they do EDC tools, they got knives, they got, and way, way more stuff that aren't really part of my channel, but they've got all kinds of stuff. And they were so kind to send me this. Can you see it? There you go. On that angle, you can see it. This is a first production run, number 571 of 1000. So thank you so much, you guys, for sending me a first production run. This knife will not be EDC'd very much. I'm keeping it as a for my collection to just look good, and I'm going to be buying another one for myself to EDC and carry every once in a while and show people when I'm out and about, because this is a very good knife. The lockup is solid, no blade play left and right, up and down, you know, it's really, really good. And now it's time to show you how well it cuts, although you don't really need to see how well it cuts, do you? You already know how well it cuts. It's Sandvik steel, and Sandvik steel is a good steel. We've got some copy paper here, just regular 20-pound printer paper. Remember, I've had this knife for 6 weeks. I've done nothing to the edge. I've just used it, done my testing and everything. Let's see how well it cuts after all that. Now that's a testimony to the Sandvik steel. You can hear that it's not cutting perfectly. But it's cutting very well. I wouldn't expect it to cut perfectly. You know, I've been using it for 3 weeks, right? And if it did cut perfectly, you'd think I was, faking it and I'd sharpen the knife before I did the video. Very good cutting. And let's try some paracord. Okay, so we've got some paracord. This is 9-strand paracord, pretty heavy, the thickest, strongest kind that I could get. I'm going to try a push cut through here. Okay, took a little bit to cut through that, but that's what I would expect because it is a knife that has been around the block, as it were. And you're slicing it. I'm slicing it, not you. Slicing pretty well. And yes, there's the 9 strands of cordage inside. So let's see if it cuts wood at all. That's quite good. You can make some really fine little shavings with that. So it's a good edge for cutting wood. It's a good knife. I like it quite a lot. Like, I can't say enough good stuff about this knife. If you've never bought a Tekut knife, this should be your first. If you've bought a Tekut knife before and you've just said, no, I'm never doing that again, this is the knife that's going to get you to reconsider that and to try out Tekut once again. Thank you so much for watching my video. Thank you for subscribing, commenting, and sharing this video with somebody who might also be interested in this knife. Remember, guys, always cut towards your chum, that is your friend or the other guy, and not your thumb.